Hello and welcome to a brand spanking new episode of the Melanin Mayhem podcast, hosted by your favorite country girl, Renee Davis. Ooh, honey, if today is your first time kicking it in these mayhem streets, welcome, darling. Let me tell you what you've gotten yourself into. You see, every Wednesday I am going to bring you the stories of some of the most prolific. I'm talking people who did some of the most audacious, diabolical, and downright negastic crimes of the serial nature that you've probably never heard of. And on the off chance you have heard of these here people I'm gonna tell you about, I bet you haven't heard the story the way I'm gonna tell it. Baby, go ahead and sit yourself down and get comfortable while I do what I do. But before I start doing what I do, you know I got to talk to my peoples. I'm talking about the cream in my coffee, the newer nation. What's up, crime cousins? Oh, I miss y'all so much. Oh my God. Y'all don't even understand. Y'all like my therapy. Baby, we be talking back and forth between them comments and on them reviews. Let me tell you. Thank you so much for y'all being you, doing the things that you do for the country girl. Hearts all the way around. If I was doing video, you would see my heart is just about to jump out my chest because I love y'all so much. And guess what? We heard them ads. We did it. We did it. I ain't never been so happy to hear an ad in my life. I know, and some of y'all told me that too. I appreciate the excitement on my behalf, and I appreciate the love and your support for making it happen. So go on ahead and keep on doing what you're doing. Tell 10 more people about the country girl and get everybody listening to the Melanin Mayhem podcast. As far as church announcements for today, we are in the home stretch. This weekend is the Galantines virtual show. So those of you who like to wait to the last minute, I'm looking at you. Come on and get down with the get down so we can kiki and kick back this weekend. Tickets are available on Eventbrite. There will be a link in the show notes as well as on the social media pages. Don't forget to head over to melaninmayhempodcast.com for all your merch needs and as well as the e-guide to helping get that story that's in your head out of your head and out here into the world. Let me see. And that a couple of things. Cooking, y'all know I stay doing some stuff. I'm in the season of change and I'm just trying to be still and let him do what he gonna do, because you know what he gonna do when he do what he do. So I'm just trying to be still, y'all. But y'all know it's so hard to be still. Especially when I got all these stories that is just trying to get out. Like today. Honey, I got a story for you that is going to blow your mind. Oh, I got a old stinking ass, greasy looking motherfucker to tell you about. Oh, my sweet black Jesus. When I read about his shenanigans, I just couldn't believe how much shit he was into. I'm talking in and out of prison, in and out of jail, all the while disconnecting women left, right, and sideways with permission almost. Wait till I tell you about it. Oh boy, got chance after chance after chance. And between piss poor communication by the people whose job it is to fix the shit when they see some shit ain't right, it's just a mess. This whole case got me discombobulated because so many women lost their lives needlessly, and in many cases, the shit went unaccounted for. Just wrote off until the goddamn law finally got it right. A day late and a dollar short. Yeah, gonna see what I'm talking about. Today, I'm gonna tell you the story of how it went down from the point of view of knowing just what we knew at the time. You'll see what I'm talking. So let's go on ahead and get into it. Dragging this dusty motherfucker to the front of the congregation for a proper read. This week's Melanin Mayhem Maker is Mr. Walter Earl Ellis, aka the Milwaukee North Side Strangler. we get started, it just hit me that this grimy Negro that we about to drag, he is like the third strangling strangler that strangles that we've had. I know he's at least the second in 2 weeks. I mean, this really gives new meaning to that saying, protect your neck. I'm just saying, I'm just saying. It's a whole lot of strangling been going on. Anyway, let's get into the story. Walter Earl Ellis was born June  24th, 1960, in Holmes County, Mississippi. If you're from Mississippi, you probably say Mississippi. His daddy was Leroy and his mama was Miss Mattie. The Ellises, they had 6 children amongst them, and they tried to raise them as good, God-fearing, productive citizens. And I guess 5 out of 6 ain't bad. But that one, ooh, that motherfucker Walter Earl, he became the problem child early. I'm talking about hell spawn. And as a lot of families did in the South, the Ellises, they moved on up out of the country and headed north, and they eventually landed in Milwaukee. And I don't know if it was because of culture shock or if Walter was being picked on and felt like he had to turn up or whatever. But when they settled down in Wisconsin, baby, they say Walter turned into a fucking terror. Like, if throwed off and on site had a baby, it would have been little Walter. They say that little nigga threw hands on the regular. If you said something slick, hands. Stepped on his shoes by accident, hands. Bumped into him, hands. Teacher trying to correct him about something in school, hands. Like the neighborhood terrorized by Lil Walter. The neighbors say that this motherfucker was a straight up Debo before Debo was even thought about. And they couldn't do nothing with his ass except avoid Lil Walter by whatever means was necessary. I mean, one of the neighbors from his childhood described Lil Walter Earl like this. He said, one minute he cool, and the next minute he bam, bam, bam. I mean, that implies that this nigga nuts the fuck up. And guess what? He did. So he throwed off his mom and dad and them. They can't do nothing with him. And I just thought, he might just needed to run up on the right motherfucker to knock some sense into his young, wild, crazy ass. But clearly that never happened because let me tell you how off the chain Lil Walter was. Now, in 1974, he drops out of school. He's like 14 years old. The dude is ready to jump into street life with both feet. It's at this age when he's arrested for the first time. And guess what he was arrested for? At 14, robbery and attempted murder. 14 years old. Are you freaking kidding me? And you would think, first and foremost, 14, robbery and attempted murder, that's a heavy ass charge. Surely they showed Lil Walter, we ain't playing with you. Hmm. They gave this little nigga a slap on the wrist and a fine for his troubles because he was a minor. All that did was show Lil Walter Earl that the system don't give a fuck. So why should he? Turn up, little nigga, turn up. And turn up is exactly what he did. Now, Walter was also sticky fingers gang. And for the next few years, that's what he got caught for all the time. Just some shit that fell off the back of a truck or whatever, and it just ended up in his possession and all they would do is catch and release. Grab him up, send him home. Grab him up, send him home. Just really creating a young man turning into an older man who's a monster in the making. Like, wait, just wait, just wait. So in 1979, he steps up from robbing to selling pills. Now, he gets caught doing that shit. He is not a good criminal by any stretch of the imagination. He stay getting caught, but he's slick with it. So they caught him selling pills. He was able to turn the shit around on his plug at the pharmacy who sold him the pills. Talking about he sold him the pills without a prescription. So it ain't his fault that he got the pills, it's the pharmacist's fault. Man, and the cops, they went for that shit. And Lil Walter skates on this little drug charge he got. Oh, tattletale ass nigga. I hate a snitch. Y'all know I hate a snitch. Ooh. How you gonna turn on your boy? I just hooked you up and you gonna turn me in? But you gonna see that that is a pattern with Lil Walter. After he can't make it as a pill man, now he decides that he is going to try his hand at pimping. And Debo still don't give a fuck. He is running up on established pimpering operations and trying to strong arm these folks. Like, what the fuck? Walter is messy. It got so messy that even the police got involved. Now, you know this is a mess when the law is got to get involved with pimp business. What the fuck is going on, Walter? But, it was messy business. So all them charges that was trying to be brought up against Walter, they didn't go nowhere either. But he was still out here doing other criminalistic shit that he could get popped for. And he got sat down for a little bit. But again, it's get out, rinse and repeat. And this shit went on for like 4 or 5 years. And he would end up getting out of prison for the first last time in 1985. Now, when he got out, they say Walter did try to get a job, like his parole officer said that he had to, right? Got him a job, he working. But old habits die hard. Mm-mm-mm. And in addition to a paycheck, Walter wanted some extortion money from his employer. I'm gonna come in here and work, but you also gonna pay me for coming in here, and cause I'm letting you breathe, you gonna pay me some more. Now y'all know that shit can't work. And Walter is back in jail for extortion. But I don't know if the patron saint of dumbass criminals is just sitting on his shoulder or whatever, because this case eventually gets thrown out too. So you seeing a pattern here? Walter steadily getting in trouble, always in trouble, never really having to pay for his crimes. Just catch and release, catch and release. Well, in the meantime, in between time, while Walter is out here doing all this thievery and pimpery and all of this shit, women are dying all over Milwaukee. And the first one that I want to tell you about is 31-year-old Deborah Harris. Now, Deborah was a working girl, and they found her strangled and her body dumped over by the river on October 10th, 1986. But, they say Deb, like to do a little something strange for a piece of change. So, yeah, the police came and yeah, they took some evidence, but Deborah's case went unsolved for years. But guess what? The very next day after Deborah went to the upper room, here come another body. This time it's 19-year-old Tanya L. Miller. Now, Tanya was also known to monetize that monkey, and Tanya was found strangled, like I said, the very next day, October 11th, 1986. Not that far from where Walter Earl lived, where his mama lived, in the neighborhood. We're talking about a couple of blocks. Well, time goes on, and I'm talking about a little bit of time. Call it 6 days. On October 18th, 1986, Walter back on his shit. He acting a fool in public. He gets so turned up that he gonna square up on a police officer that's trying to get him to pipe down. And for that little aggressive behavior, he gets 7 months in the county jail. He pop out back on their ass May of 1987. Now Walter, he a cop diesel ass. He get out, but he can't get right. He go right back in. I'm talking about out one day, and a couple of days later, he is back behind bars. I have the impression that he is one of the motherfuckers that really feel at home in the joint. Like he can't help himself. If he sees something that he ain't got no self control to not go take it. Even if he is seen like he don't think things through. If he want it, he gonna take it. And he gonna take it as aggressively as possible and get caught every time. So he gets out, he goes right back in. They give him a year. He did like 9 months, but you see the pattern in and out, in and out. This takes us around to February 1988. But can't get right. He on the street, but he back on some street shit. And once again, November 1988, he get caught trying to carjack somebody. Now he bucking on the cop who called him, and he gets hemmed up, and you know how that go. He caught him a Rodney King for his troubles, and in 2 years to think about the error of his ways. And it wasn't that he got caught, he got sent up for the carjacking. He was out on parole. You got caught by the police trying to carjack somebody, buck on the police, and all the while you on paper. Boy, make this shit make sense. Make it make sense. So anyway, he go back to finish this little time he got on paper. He do like 24 months. He gets out January 9th, 1990. 5 Months later, this nigga is back in handcuffs. This time for some drug shit. Okay, they convict him. It's November 1990. And they say he a part of this gang. It's called the Brothers of the Struggle. I like the name. It's kind of cute. But the Brothers of the Struggle was out here and they was doing some real street shit. You know what I'm saying? Like making episodes of BMF, that kind of shit. And so on some real wire type of shit, the feds put cases on all their asses. And so one of the U.S. district judges, Judge Terrence Evans, he sentenced Walter Earl to 30 months in Fed prison and a year of probation. Now remember, this is Fed time now, so little Walter Earl about to do 85% of all them goddamn 30 months, right? They ended up sending him off to a Fed prison in Minnesota, and he gets out in May of 1992, right? Good behavior. He did his 85%. So now it's time for him to go on home. And he on probation. Report in. Do what you need to do, and everything will be all right. Okay. Hmm. Just act right. Just act right, Walter. It's time to act right. Well, Walter goes back to Milwaukee to his mama and them guys, right? And in true can't get right for him, he stay fucking up the church's money. Like, stay trying to get sent back to prison. This naggastic ass motherfucker tested positive for cocaine 3 times in a row. Every time he checked in, motherfucker, your piss is dirty. Baby, his probation officer was like, "Oh, you think I'm something to play with? Let me show you something." And locked his monkey ass right on back up. But we know Walter like going in, but he ain't had but a couple of months left anyway. So they just sat him down for probably like 2, 3 weeks. And then they decided, you know what? Since you ain't gonna act right to go home, we're gonna send your little monkey ass to rehab at the halfway house. Well, this is November 1992 when they sent him to the Salvation Army halfway house over there on North 7th Street in Milwaukee. We all know what the halfway house is, right? That's where the corrections department sends the convict when they almost ready to go all the way home. It's kind of like diet jail. They are a resident rather than an inmate, and they can leave the premises for approved activities, provided that they follow the rules of the halfway house and that they sign in and out so everybody know where everybody at all times of the day, where you going, who you with, when you're coming back. Okay, cool. So when he gets to the halfway house, Walter recognizes one of the dudes that worked there. It's a dude named Carl Porter. Well, him and Carl, they had did some time together in Green Bay. Pause. Who the fuck thought it was a good idea to let an ex-con be in charge of anything at a halfway house? Make that make sense? I don't know, but that's where we are in Milwaukee in the 90s. The ex-cons is running a halfway house. Well, ex-con Carl, he on the come up. He don't give a fuck about this little job. As a matter of fact, the job is also Carl's side hustle. Carl, one of them dudes that'll look the other way if your money right. Here's the thing. If you don't sign out, it looks like you've been at the halfway house all day, all night, right? Because the login books say you left this time and you came back and you didn't leave no more. So this gives anybody who's at the halfway house an alibi for any foolishness and fuckery they might want to get into. Wait, Walter Earl used that shit to his advantage, honey. He bribed his way out the halfway house to get out of the facility without anybody knowing. You see, he was able to go to his mama house on a pass because it was the Thanksgiving holiday. So yeah, they let him go out and get some of that good old soul food and fellowship. And according to the sign-in log, Walter left that morning and he was back in the halfway house on November 27th, 1992 at 3 p.m. And he was in for the rest of the night because there were no more sign outs. Well, Walter had done shot ex-con Carl a little piece of change to look the other way so he could go back out and kick it for a little while. And ex-con Carl, oh, he didn't give a fuck what you was gonna do long as your money was right. And right, Walter's money was. So as far as the book showed, Walter was in the house, president accounted for, should he need an alibi for anything. So that same night, Walter is off doing who knows what with who knows who. But here's what we do know. A 25-year-old woman named Irene Smith had her water cut off that same night. Now, Irene had been stabbed in the neck, raped, and strangled. And guess where she was found? A block away from where Walter Mama Neil stayed. Mmm. Y'all seeing some patterns? Y'all the only ones. Shit, cause didn't nobody else see no goddamn patterns. Because again, Irene was known to do a little something, you know what I'm saying? If you money right, you know. And because of that, nobody give a fuck that Irene came up stabbed in the neck and strangled out, even though it's a rash of women that's been coming up strangled in this little bitty area in North Milwaukee, right around Walter Mama and them house. Okay. So Irene gone on to glory. And Walter Earl, he back at the halfway house, chilling like ain't nothing happened. And for him, did nothing happen. And it's crazy because again, what the fuck, Walter? Tell me why. A couple of weeks later, this trifling motherfucker decided that he had had enough of the halfway house, so he just dipped. I'm like left. I'm gone. I checked out. This is not a hotel. Walter, December 13th, 1992. Sir, where you going? You just can't do that. Now, yeah, they can look the other way while you go dip out for a little bit, but if you ain't there at bed check, it's gonna be a whole ass problem. And that night, bed check, as soon as they realized you weren't there, they quickly put an APB out on that ass, and the authorities snatched him back up so motherfucking fast. And you know, he was already out on this drug rehab program because of drug charges, right? And again, this is Fed time, Walter. So you really trying to go do you some real time. Hmm. Not that slick ass Walter. He always got a plan on how to get off. Guess what he do this time? This time, Walter offered to make a deal with the feds. He was like, hey man, you know, it go down over there at that goddamn halfway house. Ooh, they doing all kind of fuck shit over there. I tell you what, I'll help y'all get all them corrupt motherfuckers. You know, if you just let me walk on my little bullshit, you know, y'all look the other way on what I had did. Now you would think, looking at Walter's rap sheet up until now, somebody would have been like, that's all right. You say it's going down over there, we'll find another way. But no, the feds, they went for that shit. They went for it. They put Walter Earl back at that damn halfway house. And this snitch ass nigga set all the homies up. Every last one of them. Old boy, ex-con Carl, and another dude named Marlon Horde got them fucked up on some Fed charges now. So next thing you know, this nigga Walter Earl is giving grand jury testimonies against these two men who been trying to hook his ass up, and he the star witness on the Fed case against his two former partners in crime. Ooh, if that ain't some snitch ass, punk ass, puss ass nigga shit there. Ooh, I hate a snitch. Oh my God. This motherfucker and got a deal. He got to walk. January 12th, 1993, this motherfucker stepped right on out of jail, two-stepping free. And then a couple of months later, on March 16th, 1993, all his charges magically disappeared. Fuck them drug charges. Fuck them escape charges. Man, in what world does this make sense? Not even on paper. If you thought that they was crooked over there at that damn halfway house, it was a way to get that shit out. You did not have to let Walter Earl just walk free. Free? Cause he is free now, y'all. He ain't at the county. He ain't at the halfway house. Ain't on no paper no more. So like I said, this nigga is free. But you know, now that he good and rehabilitated and got him a go get out of jail free pass, now it's time to get into some real shit. Think about it. This nigga got a federal get out of jail free pass. That's like the golden ticket. This nigga got a new position as an informant now. So every time he get into some shit, which we all know is often, all he do is pull out his snitch nigga pass and he basically get to walk on by. I can't. I just can't. I just can't. Life is moving on. Walter Earl back on the block doing what snitch niggas do. And in the meantime, in between time, Women are still coming up dead and missing, and ain't nobody batting an eyelash. Now, there's this curious case of a woman, 32-year-old Karen Kilpatrick. Now, she met her maker on October 13th, 1994. Now, Karen is just a tale of tragedy and fuckery. They found Karen in a Herbie Kirby. Some children found her. Still in Walter Earl's neighborhood. I'm talking about real close. His mama and them next door neighbor. Here's how it went down. You know, old folks. Baby, come put some trash in the trash can for me. I'll give you 50 cents. So the little girls come over and take the trash out and they flip open the Herbie Kirby. And goddamn if it ain't a woman inside of it, a dead woman. And the dead woman is Karen Kilpatrick. Scarred children for life because who finds goddamn dead body in the motherfucking trash can? I ain't never going to the Herbie Kirby again. Scarred, PTSD. And this is Walter Earl mama's next door neighbor. This is at the house next door. Now here's the kicker. A man named Curtis McCoy ended up being charged with Karen's murder. I'm gonna tell you about that in a little bit. We're gonna put a pin in that. I circle back around to that. Now, moving on, that next month in November of 1994, Walter Earl back out here on this bullshit and he going upside his old lady head. Actually, this nigga went off on her with a screwdriver. How the fuck? Well, I mean, was he trying to juggle to death? Like, this woman is running for her life because this motherfucker got a screwdriver at her ass. Her name was Ethel Hardiman, and they kicking it a little bit or whatever. And then Walter Earl, they smoking crack, from what I understand, and some shit pops off, and he really went off on this woman with a screwdriver. She called the cops. They broke all the shit up or whatever, but oh, Ethel didn't want to goddamn press charges. Walter Earl, skating again. Now, that following year, a woman named Florence McCormick, now she was found strangled on, let me see, April  24th, 1995, just like the other women, strangled and not too far from Walter Earl Mama House. Now, just like the other women, Florence was a purveyor of the pussy, and so, her case too went unsolved for years. Even though they had evidence or whatnot, did nobody do nothing with it. Ain't nothing coming up from it, right? There was 37-year-old Sheila Farrier. Now again, found strangled to death June 27, 1995, not too far from Walter Earl Mama House. Then, because the murders of these women, they just kept coming and coming and coming. And the next one was a minor, 16-year-old Jessica Payne. She got August 30th, 1995. Now Jessica, 16 years old, she was a runaway. And her murder was slightly different from these other women. First and foremost, Jessica was a member of the Caucasus peoples, and she also was not strangled like the other women. The MO was different. See, Jessica got slashed. She died because of blood loss. Cut her throat from ear to ear, and so that change in the MO, it kind of threw everything off, and everybody put Jessica to the side and said, "Now these black women that are being killed by strangulation couldn't have been killed by the same killer." So we got to figure out who it was that killed 16-year-old white girl Jessica Payne. Well, the state went right on out and found the man to pin Jessica's murder on. And I do say pin, baby. It was a man named Chante Dean Ott. Yeah, they convicted Chante of Jessica's murder in 1996 based solely on an eyewitness testimony that said, "Hey, I seen that dude with that girl, so he must have did it." That's all the prosecution needed. And Chante, I wonder if his mama name was Shantae, because it's like Chauncey with a T, not the point. Shantae ended up getting got for Jessica's murder, and they shipped his ass on off to prison. Next, a woman, Joyce Mims, she was 41 years old, also found strangled, lying on her back in a little bit of ass closet, naked as a jaybird. They found her on June 20th, 1997. Say it with me now. Right round the way from Walter Earl Mama Neal house. And here's the kicker about Joyce Mims. She was a friend of the Ellis family. Yeah, she was kicking it with Walter Earl's uncle. So she was known to Walter Earl. Her whole family knew Walter Earl. Ooh, that's a little trifling, ain't it? Considering, if I keep bringing all this up, eventually I'm going to tie all this shit back to Walter Earl. But at this point in time, the police don't have a clue who sent Joyce Ann to the upper room. So Joyce Ann's case, it goes on the shelf and just starts getting cold. We moving on in time in the following year after Joyce Ann is gone on. It's 1998, and Walter Earl is back putting his hands on his old lady. This time it's a different girl. Her name is Karen Thompson. Now, remember, he went after his ex girlfriend, Ethel, with the screwdriver. Now, he's still in his hand tools bag of beating the bitch. Yo, this time he busts Karen in the head to the white meat with a motherfucking hammer. A hammer. Like, he ain't tried that shit. He did that shit. Karen needed 52 stitches to close her shit up. Baby, but on this one, Karen pressed charges. She was not going away quietly, and Walter Earl had to go do a little time on that. He got 5 years in prison, but he ain't do but three, so he was back on the block in no time. But peep this. This is what I need you to understand. By now, the law of the land is that if the jury don't acquit, then you got to give up some of that spit. And yeah, mandatory DNA swabs to go in the database. Now, every inmate was supposed to be getting swabbed. Here's the motherfucking sad fact of all this. Everybody don't do their job. And for whatever reason, not every inmate is getting swabbed or the right inmate ain't getting swabbed. So they did at some point in time, go through the records and see, oh, we still need a swab from this person. Oh, we need a swab from that person. And it came up that Walter Earl, his name was on the list. We need a swab. So Walter Earl is locked down. They got access to him. They don't even have to hunt this nigga down. And on February 4th, 2001, they tell Walter Earl, go on down now to the infirmary so they goddamn swab his mouth and get this DNA. You would think that would mean something, right? Mm-mm. It didn't. Walter smart ass sent another inmate, dude named Napoleon Clark, to go do a swab in his place. Yes, yes, yes. Now, how the powers that be that was in charge of making sure that the motherfucker whose DNA that you taking is actually the motherfucker whose DNA you supposed to be taking is the motherfucker that's sitting in the chip. They didn't. And so now, when the cases are being run through the system looking for matches, the sample from Walter is not Walter. So there are no hits on anything that Walter may have done that's out here in the ethos. But wait, it gets better. Here's the gotcha. Every inmate gets this sample taken, right? And the dude who got in line pretending to be Walter Napoleon, he was a prisoner too. He had already given his sample in his name. So, when the sample that was supposed to be from Walter Earl Ellis got to the crime lab, it popped up. Hey, this ain't Walter Earl Ellis. This is inmate Napoleon Clark. There's been a mistake here. Do y'all think that the lab called up, emailed, texted, smoke signaled, or sent a goddamn carrier pigeon over to the prison to let them know that Walter done tried some slick shit? No, they just let the shit slide. Ain't that about a bit? I mean, when it's the motherfuckers that's supposed to keep this shit on the up and up, when they collaborating with the criminals that's trying to keep the shit on the low, how we supposed to win? I mean, you got one job. Test this shit. Match the name, mark it down. If it don't match, if the shit come up funny, if the sample has been tampered with, if they say the sample belong to somebody else, you're supposed to raise the alarm because there are lives on the line. And maybe, just maybe, the reason why it don't match is because the motherfucker whose sample is supposed to be got some shit that they don't want to come out and you helping them achieve that goal. What? I mean, this case, I'm over here. What my drink? I need a drink. It's too much. It's too much. I mean, Walter Earl dropped out in the eighth grade. Yeah, he is running circles around everybody. I mean, make it make sense. Whatever, whatever. So after getting away with not giving his DNA, Walter is once again a free man, July of 2001. Hmm. Now, whatever Walter was out there doing, we don't know. But I don't believe that he was through killing. But all we know definitively, 6 years later, after he got out of prison for the last time, 28-year-old Erythrian Strokes, her body was found strangled April 27th, 2007. And just like the women that went on before her, she was raped and she was strangled. And the assailant that left the DNA all over and in her body was not in the system. But just because his DNA wasn't in the system, another match for that same DNA from this same person killed Joyce Ann Mims in 1997, 10 years earlier. Now the police, they out there asking around, who was Aretha kicking it with in her last hours. And Walter Earl's name, it came up. But y'all know police work is super. And just because Walter Earl's name came up, they really needed more than that because, Aretha got friendly coochie. And she entertains paying penises on the regular. So, they needed more. So her case is just kind of going cold. Around 2009. Milwaukee police are going through their cold cases and they pulled 20 old cases off the shelf. 20, just random. And they run the DNA evidence looking for some more hits. And what they find is out of the 20 that they pulled off the shelf, 9 of these women was disconnected by the same motherfucker. The DNA is a match. 9 women. Now they just got to figure out who is the motherfucker who DNA we got. So, Erythrian is the last to have been killed. She's the most fresh. So they worked the leads from her investigation. Now, the police, they are familiar with Walter's good stay locked up snitching ass. So they took a look at his record. And right around the same time that all of this is going on in 2009, the state of Wisconsin was doing an audit to see which inmates hadn't been swabbed. And they came up with a great big old list. And guess whose name is on the list? Walter's name. Well, they realized that we're looking at Walter for arrhythmias, girl. We need some DNA from him. So they called up Walter and they was like, hey man, we need you to come in here and give us one of them little swabs. And so Walter is giving them the runaround. He don't know when he gonna be able to come in. Life is lifing right now, and he kind of busy. You know what I'm saying? But he's straight. Y'all straight. We straight. I let you know when I can get around to. Walter been living with his girlfriend in an apartment right next door to his mama's house. Baby, as soon as he hung up that phone with the police, him and his girl got the fuck out of Dodge with the quick. So the police immediately go get a warrant and they run up in Walter's house looking for his ass, August 2009. But of course, Walter wasn't nowhere to be found. But guess what was there? His toothbrush. And so the police collected that motherfucking toothbrush and sent it out to be tested, and boom, it's a whole ass match. So now the hunt is on for Walter Earl Ellis. Now, Walter had a car. And so they put an APB out on his Buick and they sniffed his ass out in the town of Franklin at a Dewdrop Inn motel. And on September 7th, 2009, baby, they rolled up on that motel so deep and went and got Walter Earl Ellis's ass. Yes, honey, come on. It's time to face the music. September 7th, 2009. Walter Earl Ellis is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder for Joyce Mills, who was killed in 1997, and Aretha Stokes, that was killed in April of 2007. 10 years apart. So that's the first two that they charged him with. But the DNA machine, it keeps spitting out names. They had Walter's DNA at the crime scene, right? So then we got Tanya Miller, the one who was killed in 1986. We got Deborah Harris, who was also killed in 86. Sheila Ferrara, the one who was killed in 95. Florence McCormick in 1995. And Irene Smith in 1992. So they add all of those women's names to the indictment. And now Walter got 6 women who he's about to answer for, officially charged for their murders. But wait a minute. Wait. What about Karen Kilpatrick, the lady who was killed in 92, and the little white girl, Jessica Pine, who was killed in 1995? We know that Walter's DNA was found on them too. And we also know that Them two people had men arrested and charged with their murders. What happened to them folks? Well, for Karen D. Kilpatrick, that was the man, Curtis McCoy. Now, he had been charged with her murder, but he was acquitted when he went to trial. So he didn't spend no time in prison for a crime that he didn't commit. Thankfully, he was able to beat the charges before he was convicted. He did not get convicted, so that was great. He didn't have to spend any time in prison for a crime that that he didn't commit. So thankfully, he was able to beat those charges and prove he was innocent. But Shantae Dean, oh, baby, for Miss Jessica Payne, he did go to prison. He spent 14 years in prison before all this DNA evidence came out. And so they dropped all the charges against him for Jessica Payne's murder, and they released him same year, 2009. Baby, and when he got out, oh boy, Mr. Ott expeditiously filed suit against everybody for putting a crime on him and robbing him of 14 years of his life. I'm not mad. Chante, get your bag, honey. Get your bag. So, Walter Earl got 6 murders that he looking at. And for each one of them, they talking about life. All of them. And at this point in time, he got a little bail. It's only $1 million. So we know old Rusty Dusty Strangle Man ain't going nowhere. Well, the DNA machine keep on doing what it do. And that following year, they matched him to another murder, Marietta Griffin, strangled, thrown away, February 17, 1998. Now, in Marietta's case, somebody was charged for her murder. Yeah, dude named William Avery. He had a little crack house where everybody would hang out and smoke crack at, and Marietta was known to smoke a little something from time to time. And so the people said when they asked who the last person Marietta was with, they said that the dude William was the last person that Marietta was with. Well, William was like, shit, I was smoking. I don't even remember what you're talking about. And the police was like, okay, no problem. Well, some time goes by. I'm talking 6 years. And William is in jail for some other bullshit. And the police say that one of his cellies say that William had confessed to him that he killed Mayrill. And if they gave him a reduced sentence, he would testify against William. And that's exactly what he did. And they prosecuted William Avery for the murder of Marietta Griffin. This man got 40 years in prison. Now he's steadily saying that, I do a lot of things, but I don't kill nobody. I don't remember, but I know I didn't do this. This man do 5 years in prison when all this DNA stuff started coming out. And come to find out, William was telling the truth. He didn't kill Marietta. Walter Earl did. So here we have yet another case where the wrong man has been tried and convicted for a crime that Walter Earl punk ass actually committed. I mean, that's crazy. 3 men got caught up. 2 of them did some real time. How many innocent people are in prison because the DNA evidence hadn't been tested? But god damn it, man, this burns my biscuit. I mean, 3 innocent men the state just knew was a killer, convicted and everything. Get y'all bag. Oh, I hope y'all got a good bag out of this. Back to Walter. So Walter is set to go to trial. And he want his day in court because he got some shit to say, right? That's what they talking that big shit while we waiting to go to trial. But, a couple of months before the trial was actually supposed to start, Walter started changing his tune. Now he's like, you know what? I ain't even trying to crank up the jury like that, man. I ain't fucking with these folk like that. I'm gonna go on here and plead out to the little charges and, what I'm saying, see what they want. So he up in the courthouse and he has admitted that he is the strangling strangler that strangled them women. And so for his plea, on February 24th, 2011, Walter Earl Ellis got 7 life sentences to be served consecutively. Every time you die, for the next 7 lives, we got your ass one more again. Boom. Now and forever, nigga, you will be behind bars, and never will you see life with a toilet and the sink ain't connected. Mm-hmm. Now, you might remember though that in the intro I said that they was a day late and $1 short. Yeah, about that. You see, I was ready for Walt to settle in for a long, hard beat. You know what I'm saying? Big nigga named Tiny just having his way with him, razor blades and lemon juice and all that old fuck shit. Well, it wasn't gonna shake out like that. Walter Earl Ellis hit the prison cell blocks in 2011. And on December 1st, 2013, just a little over 2 years later, this motherfucker took his last breath. Diabetes, that goddamn sugar, took his ass straight to Lucifer. Mm-hmm. Son of a bitch. Feel cheated, I needed him to be alive today, so maybe there's a possibility he can hear me dragging his punk ass. But I guess why he ain't sitting around sucking on the taxpayer titty. Hopefully he is getting jugged in the ass with a hot fork in the deepest recesses of hell. We can all hope. We can all hope that Walter Earl bust hell wide open with a pair of gasoline chaps on. And that, Newer Nation, is the story of Walter Earl.
Reggie, I just sold my car online.
Let's go, Grandpa. Wait, you did?
Yep, on Carvana. Just put in the license plate, answered a few questions, got an offer in minutes. Easier than setting up that new digital picture frame.
You don't say.
Yeah, they're even picking it up tomorrow. Talk about fast.
Wow, way to go. So, about that picture frame.
Forget about it. Until Carvana makes one, I'm not interested.
Car selling made easy. On
Carvana.
pickup fees may apply.
Ooh, child. Wasn't that a whole ass mess? Like, how the fuck, y'all? This kind of nigga he kind of reminded me of Samuel Little in the fact that he stayed in jail for some shit that didn't have nothing to do with the real shit that he was out here doing in these streets. Like, how, Sway? How does that happen? I mean, and I know it happens, but I always fall back on what if just one of them courtrooms had really put their foot in Walter Earl's ass? Like, how many women could have been saved? I don't know, but I do have many thoughts about this case, and the one that's just beat me over the head, as so many do, is how the fuck was this grimy ass, trifling ass nigga able to be an informant for the feds? I don't get it. Like, I understand that law enforcement needs a snitch. I get that. They got a job to do and a unique set of bitch made ass skills that make them perfect to be old tattletale ass chatty Cathy. But I'm just saying, on the part of law enforcement, the very least, and I really do mean the least that you can do is make sure that the motherfucker you listening to ain't got no bodies out here in the streets. That there are no unknown shenanigans that your bitch ass snitch is responsible for and they face the music on. I mean, y'all, we can run to Walmart right now, pick up groceries, some socks, some washing powder, some underwear, and a goddamn DNA test all in one trip. So why the fuck isn't law enforcement doing the same thing? I mean, evidence collecting is literally their job. So do that shit. Like, it should really be there at the top of the paperwork list that has to be completed, right? What's your name? What's your address? What's your phone number? Date of birth? Oh, and spit in this cup. Step two, we finna take this spit in this cup and go process it before we proceed any further. We gonna run the brand new snitch through the DNA machine personally to make sure that they aren't wanted for an unsolved crime or fine. Like, Walter Earl disconnected 6 women and aggravatedly assaulted 2 more. All the while he was on the Fed's undercover payroll. Like, think about it. The bulk of his bullshit was done under the watchful eyes of his handlers. This motherfucker stayed in and out of jail, and they gave him a get off on that shit pass. Don't worry about it. Just call my name. Give him my card. They basically put a battery in this nigga and let him loose on the unsuspecting citizens of Milwaukee. Make that make sense. All these women just healed by this man. And y'all, I kept telling y'all that they was right round Walter Earl mama house. Every last one of them was found within a 3-mile radius. A 3-mile radius of his mama house. Ugh, I get so frustrated when I read through these cases and I see how the patterns just go unnoticed. But then I contrast that with the case I bought y'all last week that featured the Mayonnaisians, and the cops sniffed that shit out in two killations. Why is it that 50 black women gotta die before they think that maybe it was a scheme that Todd had set up? Like, I swear I don't get it. I don't understand how a revolving door of criminality solves the problem of crime. When the rap sheet starts looking like a CVS receipt, it's time to lock their ass up for life because clearly they love jail. So let's make it permanent. Stop letting these criminal motherfuckers out to terrorize the rest of us. I swear, y'all, the older I get, the more I'm on my spare the rod, spoil the criminal type of shit. I mean, all it does is encourage them to keep up the foolishness and fuckery. I have said it before. I will say it again. Just ship all of them off to Antarctica or to the desert and just let them motherfuckers Hunger Games it out. Only the strongest gonna survive. And if we speaking frankly, this is who ICE needs to be looking for. Matter of fact, let's just rebrand ICE to the Ignorant Criminals Everywhere Division. You get iced, motherfucker. Y'all leave Julio and Moreno alone. They ain't bothering nobody. Let's focus on the real menaces in our society because there's some real criminals out here who have gotten away with criminalistic shit for years. Walter Earl killed across 3 decades: the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. And nobody suspected him of anything, y'all. Walter was not a recluse. He wasn't that weird motherfucker that everybody tried to avoid. This nigga kept a girlfriend to beat on. He lived next door to his mom and them when he wasn't in and out of prison. And he was known in the neighborhood since he was a child. And yet nobody had a clue that Walter Earl Ellis was way more than Debo. Yeah, he'll beat a bitch, but he cool. Yeah, he was a mess when he was young, but as he got older, he calmed down. I ain't know he was out here like that. That's what the hood had to say when it all came out. Who the fuck Walter Earl was. What he had been up to for the last 30 some odd years. Now, Walter Earl was 26 years old when it supposedly started. Supposedly, because who knows if there are some more unsolved cases, let's say from the time he was 14 when we know he started jumping off the porch to 25. It could be plenty of cases out here of other women that he killed, but the evidence hasn't been tested. And that brings me to my favorite hill to die on. How so much evidence is just sitting on a shelf, in a box, in a bag, untested. It makes no sense. I don't get it. If you can find out who did it just by running the DNA through the DNA machine and putting that shit in the database, why aren't we doing that? We got AI that can tell us who did what, when, where, and how. Why aren't we using the tools? Why aren't we using what we got to get what we want? Like, we have the capability to test. We can take a teacher winches sample and multiply that shit. We got the personnel. I mean, if nothing else, ICE has shown us that the federal government got some coins to put a bunch of motherfuckers on the payroll to do whatever the fuck you tell them to do. So let's do. Let's do. Let's do. Use what we got to get what we want, which is results. We can find out all the criminals. I know. I'm gonna put my soapbox up, y'all. I get so worked up sometimes. This is my therapy and my Achilles heel at the same time. I'm only human. Some cases affect me more than others, and I know, but y'all feel me, right? Tell me about it on social media. Y'all can find me. Y'all know I'm Melanin Mayhem Podcast on IG, Facebook, and YouTube, and I am Melanin Mayhem PC on X. There is a fabulous private Facebook group. I keep forgetting to tell y'all about it. It be so much stuff that I have to remember. Y'all blame it on my head, not my heart. It's the Melanin Mayhem Podcast discussion group. We kiki over there. It is private, so you don't have to worry about everybody in your business as we talk about this crime and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because we drags over there. We gets down. Y'all go ahead and look us up and get down with the get down. Before I get out of here, don't forget it's the last couple of days. Get your tickets to the virtual Galantines event this Saturday night, February the 7th. Check the show notes for the link. All right. So this week's New Orleans Nation shout out, it goes to Tom Dennis 6, who left a comment on Spotify. Tom Dennis 6 says, "The scream I screamed when I realized an ad was playing. Laugh out loud." Ooh, I'm sure my coworkers think I'm crazy now. I'm so happy for my favorite country girl. My sister put me on to you around episode 5, and I've been hooked ever since. Keep up the good work and may many more blessings come your way. T Baby. Okay, T Baby. Thank you so much. I'm so glad, honey. I was screaming too. Oh, you talking about you screaming the scream? I scrump too. Loving it, loving it, loving it. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to kick it with the country girl and even taking time to write me this beautiful review. Hearts all around. All right, New One Nation. It is like 3:20 in the morning. I have got to get some shut eye at some point. Although insomnia has been dogging my little life, I might sit up for a little while and do a little bit of editing before I do finally call it a night. But you know how we do things over here. Until we talk again next week, y'all continue to stay safe. Y'all stay ever vigilant. And remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. It's one love, New Orleans Nation, and your favorite country girl is out of here. Mwah. Y'all have a blessed week and happy Black History Month, y'all.
Woo wee, Nana, you did that.